You get this hood infectious virus when you have when your mind has unprotected contact with society.
Good evening and welcome to Captions. I'm Lamar Anderson. On tonight's show, our cameras are rolling around the P. It includes interviews from VIPs visiting Peoria recently. It also has PCCEO foster grandparents honoring veterans, as well as the fantastic speech from a keynote speaker from the Harvesting Dreams African American Male Conference. Stay tuned because we're rolling around the P right here on Captions.
We have the fortunate honor of being with Mike Unes, Representative Mike Unes, who has been reelected to his second term in the Illinois House on the 91st District. Mike, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So, your overall feeling on being reelected?
It feels great. You know, it's to truth be known, it always feels good to win, but it especially feels good because I'm proud of the campaign that I was able to run. I'm proud of being able to stay positive, being able to run on my record. And not away from my record, and I'm proud of all the campaigns that I run, so it feels really good tonight.
We're still waiting on other returns from around the state of Illinois. So when you go back to in session for the new assembly in January, what do you think is going to be the most important issue? Everybody's always talking about pension reform, but yet it seems like everybody pushes it off.
Sure. Well, there's no question there's a lot of important issues facing our state. And a few of the issues that I've been talking about that I will continue to talk about because they're very important. We've got to put people back to work. You know, we have nearly double-digit unemployment, and we have to put people back to work. So I'll continue to work on that. I'll continue to pass fiscal sanity bills that are going to help create a better working environment for Illinois. And then I'm also going to continue to work on my constituent service that I'm very proud of. I'm proud of the track record that I have over the last 2 years, and I'll continue to build off that.
It does seem that a lot of people are worried about jobs, but at the same time, they also want to find a way to attract businesses to Illinois, and everybody's, still wondering if the income tax increase was worth it, if the corporate tax increase was worth it, and, how can we still attract businesses if people still think those rates are too high?
Well, you're absolutely right. What we have to do is have a business climate, a climate for the job creators, a climate for the employers that's going to attract people back, not push people out. And right now, when we're pushing people out, we're shrinking our tax base instead of growing the tax base. We're doing the exact opposite of what we need to be doing. So we can have a business environment that we have to be able to repeal that tax increase, but then we have to be able to do other things, such as have real meaningful workers' compensation reform in the state of Illinois. When you have some of the surrounding states that have workers' comp costs that are 7 times cheaper than the state of Illinois, it begs the question, why would a manufacturer want to expand or want to come to our state? So those are things that I'm very passionate about, because those are things that we can fix where we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have billions of dollars of deficits at the same time that Indiana, just 2 hours away, has billion-dollar surpluses. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can see what's working just across our state borders.
Well, I'm very grateful to the voters. It's always a humbling experience to be elected, and it's a real privilege to be able to serve in Springfield, and I'm just very, very humbled to be able to go back.
What were the biggest challenges of this particular campaign against Formidable Foe like Pat Sullivan?
Well, he was a tireless worker. He did a lot of door-to-door. He was always out in the community, and so they threw everything at me they could, and it was a tough race. It was the toughest race I've ever had. But we had good organization, we had good volunteers, good support throughout the 3-county area, and we worked that hard, and so it was just very gratifying to kind of see that all come together. But I commend my opponent, Pat, for getting in the race. I mean, it's always something that you have to compliment someone for taking that step and running for public office, and so I want to recognize him for that.
Now when January rolls around and the Illinois General Assembly gets back to work, a lot of things that's on voters' minds is pension reform, of course. And in the past you said that it's got to be done, but you're just not sure how. Any difference of opinion about that now?
Well, yes, we do have to do pension reform because it's a non-sustainable system, but we have to do it in a fair way. We have to remember it's not the employees that miss their payments. They made payments every month. Came right out of their paycheck. It's the state of Illinois that for decades have failed to really adequately fund the pension system. So yes, we do have to do reform, but we have to do it fair. And that means that I think we have to means test it and protect those at the lower end of the spectrum.
And another issue, of course, some people are still upset with the 3 to 5% tax increase, and corporate tax, saying that's driving business out. But so from your viewpoint, what can we do to still attract business in, despite what the tax rates are?
Well, we have to have a balanced approach, and I've said this all along. We have to do some revenue increases, and we have to do some spending cuts, and we've done that. We've done both. We cut $2 billion out of the budget last year. We cut 2 years ago, we cut $1.6 billion out of the budget last year. We have to continue to look at ways of making government more efficient, leaner, but at the same time we have to recognize that we can't just take and drive this state off the cliff. Had we not done the temporary tax increase from 3% to 5%, which still makes us lower than most of the surrounding states, and we're still very competitive in that regard. But we've had cutbacks in education. We've had cutbacks in our social service network. We've had cutbacks in Medicaid. We're going to be looking at pension reform, so we can't just do it all by cuts. There has to be a balanced approach, and that's what I've said all along. And I think that the voters have kind of affirmed that that's the right approach.
Let's talk a little bit about finding ways to have more bipartisanship between the Democrats and the Republicans, not only in Congress, no matter who takes over Congress, but also in the Illinois General Assembly.
Well, I've always believed in bipartisanship. I work across the aisle on a number of bills, and I always think that that's the best legislation when you can work together, Republicans and Democrats, and produce a result. Usually that means that there has to be some kind of compromise. Compromise is not a bad word. It's a very appropriate word in a legislative process, so you have to do that. So I'm proud of my record in terms of working in a bipartisan way. We do that locally with our legislative delegation that we have here, and I'll continue to promote that.
We're here on location at 4 Points Sheridan in Peoria, and the distinct honor of Anika Goss-Foster, who is the Vice President of the Midwest region for LISC, and LISC is going to be involved in some very interesting things in Peoria very soon. But first, Anika, I want to have you tell us exactly what is LISC.
Right. So LISC is a national community development finance organization. So we loan money, we give grants, we give technical assistance, and we make equity investments in physical development projects to transform neighborhoods.
Tell us some of the areas that you guys have already made a difference in your communities.
So we work in 30 cities across the country, and we've invested over the past 33 years about $12 billion in 30 cities, and these are cities ranging from New York City to Duluth, Minnesota, to Los Angeles and Houston and Phoenix, Arizona. And we've that $12 billion has helped to build nearly 300,000 homes and $44 million in commercial real estate. So we really try to focus on building up communities from the ground up. We focus on resident leadership and engagement. We focus on making neighborhoods places where families want to live and feel safe and want to raise their children.
How is it that you decided to do some projects in Peoria?
So we were asked to come to Peoria by the Caterpillar Foundation and determine whether or not it would make the right fit for a new LISC office. We haven't opened a new office in about 15 years, and after meeting with community partners and residents and businesses, we determined that this was the right fit for us.
The areas that you're targeting include the Harrison Impact Zone and the Glen Oak Impact Zone. Do you see any distinct differences between the needs of the two areas?
Yeah, I do, and it's the area surrounding there too. So we would like to think of ourselves working on the entire south side, as people know it, not just the impact zone, and in the whole near north area, not just the area around Glen Oak School. But they are two very distinct communities. I think in the south side, it's a much more targeted investment where you're really needing to concentrate on a lot of new construction, new business development that goes into that community, right? For the near north area, because it's a little denser, there are already a lot of housing structures already. The strategy is probably a lot more of home repair, a lot more affordable housing development, connecting people in both neighborhoods, connecting people to jobs and economic opportunity. But in the near north, that commercial retail and working with the small businesses that are already there is also going to be a priority. In both neighborhoods, safety is also an issue, so that's also something that we're going to be looking at.
What do you look for in a partner to help be the main developer?
Well, I want to take just a moment and thank PCCEO and the staff over there. They've been just absolutely fantastic in helping us give entree into the South End. If it weren't for the staff and the folks over at PCCEO introducing us to partners, we still wouldn't know anyone over there. So that's the right kind of partner that we have. It's a partner that the community trusts. Because it's not LISC doing the work. We work through local community partners on the ground. And so it's partners like PCCEO and others that have relationships with the community, that have credibility in the community, that have a track record for getting things done. Those are the kinds of distinct things that we often look at.
We're now fortunate to have Brandon Holmes, who's going to be the Executive Director of the Peoria LISC office, and is going to be more involved in the day-to-day operations as far as development that's going to be coming up very soon. First of all, Brandon, tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm originally from Canton, Ohio. Spent the last 8 years in Cincinnati, Ohio, doing community development work in a variety of different areas. Worked for affordable housing developers, worked for for-profit housing developers. More recently, since 2010, I've been the program officer for the Greater Cincinnati LISC office. So I've been a LISC family for almost 3 years now, and really looking forward to the move to Peoria and being able to use all the resources and everything I've learned over the years in Cincinnati in Peoria.
Are there any specific plans as far as what's going to happen in the impact zones and the neighborhoods around there?
Well, LISC's approach is we have a targeted approach to community development, and we work with a lot of different neighborhood stakeholders. We really work with residents. Working with residents and other nonprofit agencies that are located in these neighborhoods, we try to take a comprehensive approach to community development. So oftentimes you'll have a social service agency that might work on one aspect of improving community, but what LISC does, we look at the community as a whole. So you can build nice houses, but if you don't have strong schools and quality parks and places for recreation and things for kids to do in a safe community, all the pieces don't fit together. So we really look at everything comprehensively, bring all different areas of community development and social service agencies together, and really make focused investments, like you said, around the Harrison Avenue Impact Zone, and also in the Glen Oak districts also.
Tell us about the local partners that you're going to be working with in both areas.
There's several local partners we work with. I've just got here on the ground this week, so I'm still meeting a lot of people. But PCCEO has been a great partner so far. My understanding, actually I've been to PCCEO a couple of times. I've been coming to town in the past, but PCCEO. There's a lot of other groups that we're also going to partner with right now. I'd say that at this point it's too early to determine who is going to be the go-to group. I envision LISC partnering with a plethora of organizations because every group has their attributes and the things they do that make the community a better place, and ultimately LISC wants to work with everybody to make the neighborhoods that we work in a better place to live.
We're now here with Stephanie Green, who is the foster grandparent coordinator, with a special event that was held today. Stephanie, what was the event?
Today we are having our Veterans Appreciation and also our annual foster grandparent program Thanksgiving luncheon.
What were some of the activities that went on today?
Today our activities consisted of having our Tree Wind Head Start children come and present the veterans that were here today with cards that they personally made, each one of them individual. And then we had the Southside Mission Kings kids come and render a couple of selections to the veterans as well. We have Grandma Arilona Jones, who's a volunteer for our program. She made special cards for each veteran that was here as well. Jahan Gordon Booth, which is our state representative, came and joined us today, and she spoke a few moments about the meaning of being in the program, which is our foster grandparent program, as well as thanking the veterans for the service that they have given to our country.
Tell us why you decided to have this type of event to honor veterans.
Well, veterans in our community, as I drive along the way sometimes, I see a lot of homeless people, and speaking to some of those people, I found that we have a lot of homeless veterans in our area. So I decided to bring them in as we're having our annual Thanksgiving luncheon. This is an event that we have each year, but I thought it would be extra special to give back to the veterans that we have in our community by inviting them in and letting them come and be a part of our Thanksgiving luncheon. So even if they don't get a solid meal for Thanksgiving, they will have had a Thanksgiving meal with our program.
And plus you have some donations of some items to give to the veterans?
Yes, we have done a collection since July with personal hygiene items that we are going to actually give to the Veterans Association, so they may be able to give those items to the vets that need them in our community.
And finally, tell us a little bit about the foster grandparent program itself.
The foster grandparent program itself is a senior volunteer program for low-income seniors who are 55 and older. They go and do literacy and one-on-one with the kids in the daycares and schools around Peoria area. They help the kids to get to the next learning or reading level, or level of classrooms. Like if they don't are not doing well in their classroom, they sit and do one-on-one with them so they can help them to achieve the goal that they've got set forth for them for that school year. At this time, we have a presentation that we're going to have from the Tree Wind Head Start kids. I'm going to have them come up. They've made some things for the veterans that are here today. One moment. And the Tree Wind Head Start kids, if you are a veteran and you're here today, would you please come and stand up, because the kids have cards for you. You come on. Yeah, just if you want to take more than one, each card is individual because the kids made them themselves. Grandma Leora, are you a veteran? Oh, okay. Come on, give them the cards. You can give them more than one. The ladies, we're missing you getting you cards. Lady behind you, Miss Sarah. The kids giving her cards. Here, Miss Brittany, she didn't get any. Here, there's another young lady that she can get another card.
Y'all got over there. They ain't got rid of them.
Okay, go ahead and take your card, sweetie. Take yours. And they also, the kids downstairs made the sign that's on the wall that says high five for all you do. And that's from Tree Wind Head Start classrooms 1 and 2. So those are their handprints giving you a high five to tell you thank you for serving our country.
Good afternoon. I always enjoy my week before Thanksgiving luncheon with this group. You all have just been so wonderful, not just to me, but to this entire community and for the people that you serve. You know, oftentimes people decide they get to a certain age and they decide they want to kick their feet up. And you all have made the decision not to do that. So I wanted to give a thanks to the grandparents, but I also want to give an extra special thanks to our veterans. The freedoms that we enjoy, you all made those sacrifices, you all and your families. And we cannot say thank you enough for what you give, not just to this community, but to our country. Thank you doesn't seem like enough, but it's all that we have. And I hate to do this because this is not my particular event, but for all of you that would like to attend a free Veterans Breakfast, I'd like to invite the entire grandparents group to be a part of that day. But the free breakfast is specifically for veterans, and we're going to be doing that on December 8th at the VFW Hall in Peoria Heights. So if you're free that Saturday afternoon, you're more than welcome to bring your family, and we would love to serve the veterans. And because our grandparents group is always so gracious, we would like to invite you all to come as well. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We're down here at the Peoria Civic Center at the 50th Annual NAACP Freedom Fund Banquet with Mark Thompson, the keynote speaker. And Mr. Thompson is with Sirius XM and has a talk show, Make It Plain, but he's also been involved with NAACP. First of all, Mark, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, I'm a life member of the NAACP, been very active in civil rights and political causes for really more than half my life. I've been a talk show host as well. Next year will be my 25th year in talk radio. And I've probably been one of the only broadcasters to just about every year broadcast from the NAACP National Convention. So the NAACP is a big part of everything I do.
Tell us how you first got into radio.
Well, I went to school. I studied print journalism, but there was an opening at WLAM in Washington, D.C., which was owned by Kathy Hughes, which went on to become Radio 1. It was a very famous and landmark radio station in the black community. And one day I went there and got hired to do the news. And not too long after that, I started doing my own talk show and been doing it ever since. So it's not really the journalism I was trained for. I was trained to be a writer, but ended up being a broadcast journalist. And it has complemented my activism because I've always used my radio show to encourage people to be active, to stand up for causes for social justice and for civil rights. So it's worked out very, very well.
Tell us about the radio show that you do now on Sirius XM, The Plain Truth.
Yeah, Make It Plain. Actually, it's called Make It Plain. It is a political and human rights and breaking news talk show. We're on drive time every evening. And it's really no different from anything else I've ever done, any other show I've ever done. Still about the cause of human rights and social justice. And we cover a lot of the issues that the mainstream media doesn't necessarily cover. A lot of the things that affect communities, be they communities affected by racism or sexism or xenophobia, homophobia, or even classism, things that affect senior citizens and children. We try to bring that kind of coverage to our show that you might not see in the mainstream corporate media.
Of all the VIPs and the celebrities you've had a chance to interview, are there any that come to mind specifically?
Wow, a lot. I mean, I've talked to a lot. Of course, over the years, I've had a good relationship with a lot of the leaders in the NAACP, even some of the great ones who passed on, like Ben Hooks, and those like that. Reverend Sharpton's been a guest on my show, Reverend Jesse Jackson as well. I've also had a chance to interview President Clinton and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. So those have been the kind of things that have been meaningful to me, and we've had great discussions, and it's really been a pleasure to have those kind of people come on my show to talk about issues that affect communities that they otherwise may not get an opportunity to talk about.
Those that are watching this, I want to let them know that we're taping this before the election day. And so my next question to you is, no matter who wins the presidency, no matter which party ends up having control of Congress next year, what do you think in general, when January rolls around, what's going to be the main issue that what the presidential administration and Congress need to tackle?
Well, I think they need to tackle the economy and getting people back to work. People really can't do all they need to do unless they can provide for their families. We really don't have much of a working class left. I should say much of a middle class. The middle class now has become more or less the working poor class, and that disproportionately affects African Americans and Latinos and women, single mothers and others. And so that needs to be addressed first and foremost. There are also issues that I know that are dear to the NAACP, like the prison industrial complex, felony disenfranchisement, those types of issues that we would hope the next administration would address as well.
And finally, do you see any upward improvement in the African Americans as far as the economy, jobs, housing, and so forth?
Not as much as we would like. I think it's been challenging. In some respects, we may even be going backward, even though we have an African American president. There is a bit of history to support that. It seems whenever we have achieved something of great stature, then there are those who would attack the larger community even more and try to push us back. We've seen that with the voter ID issue throughout the past year, throughout this election season, which John Lewis has called, and I would agree, is a modern-day version of a poll tax. We've seen all those types of things happen. So that kind of stuff sets us back. The reason the NAACP and organizations like it are so critical is that we keep freedom fighting alive. We don't give up. We shouldn't give up at all.
As my brother mentioned, I worked with Magic Johnson Enterprises in a program called the Magic Johnson Bridgescape Academy. So I get to spend a little time with Magic, more so with his son, Andre, right now, who works on the education side of the enterprises. And what we're doing is we're establishing schools across the country for young people of all races that have dropped out of school, kids that are about to drop out of school, kids that just don't fit into the traditional school setting. And so if you look in last week's JET, last month's Essence, there's a little article about what we're doing across the country. And we're actually trying to bring one of the programs right here to Peoria, Illinois, and working hand in hand with Clyde Gully and Ken Hinton over at the Carver Center. And so, and also with the Regional Office of Education with Dr. Jerry Brookhart and his team over there, and in partnership with Brother Bryson here with the Harvesting Dream programs. to create an opportunity for kids that might not fit in one of the programs that are already here. We're not here to compete, but to say here's another option for kids that might not be fitting into the regular school program. That's what I do in my day job is travel around the country, opening up schools, these academies for young men, young women that just didn't fit into the traditional school system so that we don't lose any of these young people across the country. I also like to just thank, I think it's great that our mayor was here today. Mr. Brady's here today. I think, guys, that you guys have a formula here in Peoria that if we connect all the dots here. I've been spending time. The first time I came here was last year. I came to this conference last year. And I met Mr. Bryson in Chicago at the National Dropout Prevention Network conference, and we got to talking, and he was showing me his book, Stop Tripping, and I was showing him my book, College Halls, Not Prison Walls, and we said, hey, man, we got to connect here. And so, man, I appreciate you, brother, and what you're doing here, man. This can be a model across the United States of America, what's happening right here in Peoria, Illinois. When I see the mayor, when I see the president of the college, when I see brothers like Mr. Turner from the city council out here, and I've had a chance, like I say, to spend time with Clyde Gully, with your city manager, and there's a concern here. There's a true concern here in Peoria for the lives of these young people. And that's something, believe it or not, that you won't find everywhere across this United States of America. So as you guys, you are to be applauded for what you're doing here. I'm going to jump right into this because I know we're short on time. As he said, my name is William Polite. I grew up in a place similar to Peoria, a place called Wichita, Kansas. Matter of fact, we play, what's the college here? Bradley or something? Yeah. Well, Wichita State, we're in the Missouri Valley. We beat up on you guys every year out there. But I'm not going there. But I grew up in Wichita is very similar demographics to Peoria, and people think you have to be in New York, Chicago, or L.A. To see this level of violence that Mr. Brady talked about, and this level of demise amongst our young people. But you can find it, as we're talking about today. That's why I say you're right on point here with the Harvesting Dreams program, because you can find that in Peoria, Illinois. You can find it in Wichita, Kansas. You can find it in Oklahoma City. You can find it in Omaha, Nebraska. You can find it in Fort Worth, Texas. You can find it in all these little places, or smaller places, I should say. And it's happening so many times with our African-American males. And so I can't say enough of how proud I am to be here. I start every day with the affirmation because I grew up in a family of 6, very similar, probably some of y'all. Single parent, single mom. My mom's 87 years old now. God bless her. Single mom, 6 kids. She also raised 4 of her grandkids, so it was 10 of us that she raised all together in this little bitty 2-bedroom house out in Wichita, Kansas. I can't say that all the stories turned out very successful coming out of that house because my mom did all that she could. She took us to church. We sang in the choir. We were on the junior usher board, the junior layman's. Man, we were a part of everything at the church. My mom did all she could with all 10 of us. But when we stepped outside that door, when we stepped outside of our door, we had to have contact with our neighborhood. We had to have contact with society. And so it had an effect on us, and that's what I'm hearing here today. This effect that it had on us. My mom, because I had a lot of brothers, and I'm going to show you a few pictures here, but I was the only one out of the 10 to make it out of college. I was the only one out of the 10 to make it out of college. And the only reason I made it because I had a brother like Akbar Bryson who put his hand on me while I was in high school and told me that I needed to stop engaging in the economics of my neighborhood because I had so much talent that I could use that economic talent that I was using in my neighborhood, that I could use that to do something else. And so all by the grace of God, it was a counselor by the name of Tommy Williams that kept his hand upon me. And so I ended up going to Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. Anybody heard of Morehouse here? So God blessed me to go down here to be a part of Morehouse College. Ended up with a degree in mathematics. I had 1 foot in the penitentiary already. I was asking them to build a cell for me at the age of 15 or 16 by my actions, and they were building one for me. But I had somebody like Mr. Bryson who put his hands on me, somebody like a Mr. Turner who wrapped his arms around me, somebody like I don't know all the mentors here. I know Coach Ron Willis. I met this gentleman back here. Yeah, don't turn around, in the parking lot, who asked could he carry my bags in, man, and I appreciate you. But I know there's other mentors here. And what you guys are doing here from this mentoring perspective is so important. You young brothers that are up front here, I know sometimes it's hard to listen to some of these advice that you're getting sometimes. I was you not that long, well, now it seems like a long time ago now. But these brothers that you have wrapping their arms around you, that's why one of these young men that sit right behind you here that are in Harvesting Dreams, it's important. It's important. As I mentioned, that we came out, and I have my mother asked me a few years ago, it's been a while, about 10 years ago, said, son, she called me Flip. She said, Flip, what happened? What did I do wrong? What happened? Why did so many, you ended up going to Morehouse and everybody else in the family ended up doing things? I have a brother that's been shooting heroin for 32 years. I have another brother that smoked crack for 17 years. 3 of the 4 nephews that she raised have been in crack, in and out of prison throughout their lives. One was born mentally handicapped. He still stays with my mom. Another one is... my sister was born mentally handicapped as well. She passed of breast cancer in 1993. The mother of my 4 nephews, the reason my mother had to raise those 4 nephews is because she went in the hospital at 21 to have her 4th child, and she was paralyzed in 1964, and she lay in bed for 54 years paralyzed, and my mother had to take care of her as well while taking care of all of us. My other oldest brother died. He was an alcoholic and died. His liver gave out on him at the age of 38, so don't think that alcohol can't kill you too. So I've got one brother that's still 58 years old, still shooting heroin, walking up and down the streets of Wichita, Kansas, getting his hand on all the heroin that he can. So I say that not for sympathy or anything like that, but to share this simple message with you today. And my mom asked me this, and I said, Mom, it's because it wasn't what you did, it's what happened when we stepped outside that door. And that's how it made me put together this program that I do across the country. And of course, I can't do the whole thing now because of timing. But I began to call this College Halls, Not Prison Walls, is the name of my organization. But the purpose of it is I call it protecting your mind from the other HIV. Everyone know what the HIV is here? You young people up front, y'all know what the real HIV is? You better, because it's one of the main killers of African Americans in the country right now. What's the HIV, man? Not that one. That's the one I'm talking about. What's the real HIV? Anybody know? Okay, but you know it's a sexually transmitted disease that turns into what? Turns into AIDS. And what happens when you get AIDS? You die. You die. You end up dying. You end up dying when it turns into AIDS. And so, and I throw that in. I'm not here to talk about sexually transmitted diseases today, but I'm talking about you get the regular HIV when you have unprotected sex, when you have unprotected contact in a sexual intercourse. And I got to be straight here. Mr. Bryson told me to shoot straight. You get this hood infectious virus when you have when your mind has unprotected contact with society. That's what I keep hearing even as I heard the first speakers. When I begin to have unprotected contact, when my mind has unprotected contact with my music, when my mind has unprotected contact with my videos, when my mind has unprotected contact with my friends, when my mind has unprotected contact sometimes, as I heard Mr. Bryson say, with my own family members. When my mind has unprotected contact with society, I run the risk of getting this hood infectious virus. This hood infectious virus leads to another form of AIDS. This form of AIDS is called addiction to incarceration or the death syndrome. When I get this mindset that wrong is right and that right is wrong, when I get this mindset that all of my heroes, and I love, don't get me wrong, I love rap music, some of it. I love hip hop. Some of this rap went too far. But some of you guys think that rap is something new, and your parents tell you to turn it off, but rap is nothing new. But you can't have unprotected contact with it, where that you begin to believe that these guys on stage, that this is what they're really doing every day. That they got money throwing it up in the air, and girls in the swimming pool, and they rip whips and they rides and pimp my rides, and that this lifestyle is what I'm going to chase. And there's nothing wrong with wanting a nice car, none of that stuff. But we loved rap when I was growing up. That is nothing new. We used to rap stuff like the Sugar Hill Gang, man. Hip hop, hibbit to the hibbity hip hip, a hobby you don't stop, a rocket to the bang bang boogie, up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogity beat. Now what you hear is not a joke. I'm rapping to the beat. Me, my friends, and my crew, we're going to try to move your feet. You see, I am Wonder Mike, and I'd like to say hello to the black, to the white, the red, and the brown, the purple, and yellow. But first, we got a bang bang, a boogie to the boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the bang bang boogie. Let's rock. You don't stop. Rock the rhythm that'll make your body rock. Well, so far you've heard my voice, but I brought two friends along. And next on the mic is my man Hank. Come on, Hank, you sing your song. Well, I'm imp to them, the ladies pimp, the women fight for my delight, because I'm the grand master with the 3 MCs that rocks the house for the young ladies. That's nothing new, man. That's nothing new. I learned that in the 7th grade. Just like a lot of y'all. How many of y'all know a rap song right now? Anybody? Come on, be honest. It's okay. I just rapped mine. I got more. Dougie Fresh, that was one of my, I used to love Dougie. Listen to what I say, because these type of things, they happen every day. You see, I woke up about 10 o'clock in the morning. I gave myself a stretch up a morning yawn and went to the bathroom to wash up. I had some soap on my face and my hands up on a cup. Said, a mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the top choice of them all? There was a rumble jumbo. 5 minutes it lasted. The mirror said, you are, you conceited bastard. Well, that's cool. That's why we never have no beef. So I washed off the soap and brushed my gold teeth. You know I love the ladies, and my skin was pale. And then I got the file for my fingernails. Clean, dry was my body and hair. I put on my brand new Gucci underwear. For all the girls that I might take home, put on some Johnson baby powder and my polo cologne. Freshly dressed like $1 million to put on my ballet shoes and my fly green socks. I stepped outside. I stopped short. Oh, no. I went back in. I forgot my Kango. So I doubt. That is nothing new, y'all. That's nothing new. And I don't claim to be a rapper. My son does, but I don't claim to be a rapper. But I can also take that same mind that I just rapped about and begin to talk about the equation of a line being y is equal to mx plus b, or if I want the standard form of the line, ax plus bx plus c is equal to 0, or I can begin to talk about why the different quadrants in the plane here. This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. I can talk about a quadratic equation being ax squared plus bx plus c being equal to 0, and where I solve the equation for ax squared plus bx plus c being equal to 0 using the determinant of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Out of the same mind that can rap hip-hop, I can also do higher level mathematics with. All I'm saying is that we don't have to let what I call this hood infectious virus, Mr. Akbar Bryson called it, what mindset word did you use? Self-handicapping mindset. That young people, y'all don't have to let that overtake your life to where your fun becomes crime. I told you I have a book and a workshop, and of course we can't do the whole thing today, but real quickly, I just want to give you guys one. I went and got some copies made last night. They're black and white copies. all these young men. You have, probably enough, there should be enough people in the audience too. Just to have. And this is a workbook that I do. Make sure all these brothers get one. We're not going to go through the whole thing because we know we're here for the sake of time. Mr. Bryson told me he's going to let me come back and do the whole workshop one day real soon. And so we're going to come back. But there's a couple of chapters in here. And what I do with this book, as you can see, the program is called College. Here, I got plenty of them too, guys, so don't hesitate. You give out here. Give them out. Here, let me get that color on there. Yeah. You got it? Okay. Okay. I think she's got the big stack there. But make sure all the fellas get one first, and then pass them out to the rest of the group there. And just don't go through it yet, guys. Just go through me one more. That's all I got. So he's got a pretty big stack there still in his hands. But if you turn to the table of contents, and I'm going to keep going just for sake of time. The first page, the table of contents, and the first one I talk about, what is this hood infectious virus? That's what we just talked about, having unprotected contact. When your mind has unprotected contact with your music, your videos, sometimes your friends, your family, Junebug, Ray and them on the porch, down there on the corner. When you have unprotected contact and I begin to put those people as my role models, I run the risk of getting this hood infectious virus. I'm not saying you ain't supposed to love them, but they can't be my role models. Thugs, gangbangers, love them. More than all, 75–80% of my family is involved in somewhere in something illegal or in the system. I love them to death, but I can't make them my role models. I used to, till Mr. Williams put his hand on me. Then I talk about the second one, education being your protection. Just like you have to protect yourself, and I'm just shooting straight here. Like you have to protect yourself, because that's a good lesson too, young man. The real HIV is killing us quicker than anything in America right now. And this hood infectious virus. It's like you have to protect yourself with a condom. You have to protect your mind with education. You have to protect your mind with spirituality. You have to protect your mind as well. And then the third one I talk about is time for a change. It's time for a change of mind. I seen in the mission statement for this college that the mission of this college is changing minds. That's what college is all about, guys. That's what education is all about. It's time for a change of mind. How many people were happy that Barack Obama became president? Beautiful. Wonderful accomplishment. But Barack Obama can't save you. Matter of fact, Barack Obama can do very little for you. And I love Barack Obama. But he's not the president of the black boys. He's not the president of the black girls. He's not the president of the Latinos. He's the president of the United States of America. It's a proud moment in our history to be able to see an African-American male in that seat. But he has to, yes, but he has to save America. We've got to save ourselves. So I want you to ask, and when I do this, and as you go through this, if we had time, behind each lesson, there's a set of questions. And on this particular one, I talk about setting goals. And I want to talk to you, I want you to just think about what can you do in the next 4 years to honor Barack Obama. He can't come down here to Peoria to get you. But I guarantee you this, and I'm talking to my adults too, my parents. If we, I don't care if you're black, white, Latino, if we say that we are so proud of this young man, and he's still a young man, for becoming the president twice, something we may never see again. If we're so proud, what are we going to do over the next 4 years, Brother Bryson, to honor this? The next time you all should bring somebody to this conference. Every year, over the next 4 years, this room should be standing room only, where they have to move it into the gymnasium over the next 4 years. What goals are you going to set? Where's my 7? Who's in middle school here? Put your hand up if You're in middle school. Middle school, next 4 years, what grade you in, my brother? 7th grade? 7th? 4 years, what grade? You're going to be in the 11th grade. Who's in the 9th grade? 9th grade, put your hand up. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Put your hand up. 9th grade, 4 years. You're going to be a freshman in college. 10th graders, where you at? Put your hand up. You're going to be a sophomore in college in 4 years. You should be. Or in a trade school. Or in the military. As my brother Turner talked about here. My dad's a veteran too, sir. Injured veteran. 11th graders, where you at? What are you going to be in 4 years? You should be up close to your junior year in college. So by the time, my point is this. Where are my 12? I got some seniors in here? Senior? See, let's give these seniors a hand, guys. These guys a hand. You guys have made it to your senior year of high school. What's the next 4 years going to look like for you, though? What is the next 4 years? We love Barack. We love you, Obama. We love you. He's got a lot of work to do the next 4 years. What are you going to do over the next 4 years? That's a challenge to all of us. That's a challenge to me. I'm rededicating myself to this over the next 4 years. Because I guarantee you, as African Americans and those that are concerned about the cause of African Americans, if we do, and I didn't forget about my Harvest and Dream brothers over the next 4 years. Some of y'all should be in master's programs or PhD programs by then. That if we commit ourselves over the next 4 years across this country, this is the message I'm taking across the country before I get ready to sit down. If we take the next 4 years and challenge ourselves first and then challenge our friends next to us, we can reverse this hood infectious virus. When you see your buddy about to join that gang or he's already in that gang and he's getting in some stuff that he shouldn't be involved in, it's your job. It's your job. Barack cannot come and save your buddy. It's your job to begin to pull him out. And that's what I talk about in there, about it's time for a change of mind. The next one I talk about is that you are a great creation. Every morning I get up and I do an affirmation called I am a world overcomer. And it goes like this. I'm a world overcomer. Strong and powerful in the might, powerful and strong in God's might. I am a child of God that makes me a world overcomer. I am confident, I am courageous, I am undaunted in my faith, even as I experience trials and tribulations. I will not give in to distress, I will not give in to defeat, I will not give in. I am created by God to succeed in this life. Through God and the authority that he has given me, I can overcome any obstacle or challenge I might face. I can overcome in tough economic times. I can overcome when the odds are against me. I can overcome unforeseen and unexpected setbacks, regardless of how I feel, regardless of what's going on around me, regardless of my present situation, regardless of my past failures. I can overcome. The battle is the Lord's. The victory is mine. I shall overcome. That's an affirmation. You need to find an affirmation as you go through your life. The next one I do, because I have to remind myself sometimes, us adults, we have to remind ourselves that we're created for greatness. We lose our way just like you guys do. And so we have to remind ourselves. The next one I go into, matter of fact, I need you to turn to this one, and I'm going to sit down, Brother Bryson, here. But don't be a trick. What page is that? Page 12? I got to talk about that for just a minute, Mr. Bryson. I'm okay? Yeah. Don't be a trick. And when I talk about here, we call people tricks. Oh, dude, you're a trick. You gave all your money to your girlfriend, all that kind of stuff. A trick is also somebody who goes out and buys sexual favors from prostitutes. They call them tricks. But I'm talking about getting tricked off in life. I'm talking about getting tricked where you begin to think that right is wrong. You begin to think that wrong is right. You begin to put people in places in your mind as heroes. You're getting tricked. If I'm going to play a trick on you, I'm not going to tell you what the trick is. I'm not talking about white. I don't get up and talk about white man playing a trick on you and all that conspiracy. I don't. But there's a trick that's being played on you sometimes just by society. If I take a frog and I put him in a pot of boiling water, that frog will jump right out of that water because he can feel the temperature change on him. But if I take a frog and put him in a pot of room temperature water, and then I slowly begin to turn the heat up on that pot of water, that frog will be in there just swimming, just kicking it, thinking he's just having fun, like so many of us are in the first grade, second grade, happy to bring a paper home with a star on it. Look, mama, look, got an A, got 100%. Did good today in school. Happy to get on the bus. Can't wait for the bus to get there. First, second, third grade. But that frog, see, he can't feel the temperature change on him. You see? So that frog, when the heat starts going up, he can't feel the change. And he begins to cook slowly. And he begins to slow down. And he begins to cook to death. Because he couldn't feel the temperature change. That's what happens, y'all, with this hood infectious virus. One day I was a happy-go-lucky kindergartner. One day I was a happy-go-lucky second grader, just happy to be in school. Somewhere around the 6th grade, 7th grade, my pants started falling down for some reason. I started looking at my teacher different. It wasn't Miss Smith, I'm happy to see you today. It's Miss Smith, F you, I ain't got time to look at you today. My boys is talking about something better out here today. You don't even realize when the change happened. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. You don't even realize when that change happens, when you go from being a loving school, wanting, I'm going to be a doctor when I grow up. I'm going to be a such and such when I grow up. All of a sudden, I'm just going to be a rapper. I'm going to be an NBA player. Or I'm going to be a banker. I'm going to go out here and get this Skrilla on this corner. You don't even realize when it changed. The temperature got turned up on you slowly, and you didn't know it. Your mind became slowly infected, and we didn't know it. But the beautiful thing about you all that are here today is that you're in a time of protection because you're coming under here. You're at ICC on a Saturday morning. That says a whole lot.